Good afternoon, everyone. It's an absolutely amazing day. We have our first team list of the season for 2024. It's obviously a big one. There's only 4 teams going to be named, so it will be a shorter team list analysis. I'll get straight into that at 4 o'clock when I see it and have it out by 5 o'clock because I have coaching then, so that'll be fun. But this is the final piece of the puzzle, guys. I hope that you felt like that across this preseason I've covered each and every skerrick that you need to know. Each and every corner is full of information, exactly what you need, and I'm very much hoping that's the case. And today we're going to be going through, obviously this is where the Scoops buy planner is, so yeah, if you do want access to this, it is in the private group as well. All the info is in the description for that. Reach out to me on the socials if you want more info, and if you'd like to join in, we have all the way up until 3 days now. Well, 4 days, including today. Friday evening, it will be done. So that's that. But going to be getting into our buy planning. And again, another one of those videos where I do the most of the work for you, so it makes it super easy for you and you don't have to go through it. You can get about your work day, your school day, whatever that is, and just watch these videos and listen to these podcasts. I really appreciate it. And hopefully it helps you with your whole season. And yeah, big thank you for this preseason. It's been absolutely incredible. So with this one, guys, give me some simple buy planning that I think you can come back to each and every sort of 3 weeks, I'd say. And I will be having that video looking at the next 3 rounds, guys, but that is going to be more focused on those matchups and the buys we're looking at early. And this one here is going to be just a good overview of which teams sort of target at certain times and when to look to buy them based on when they have a really good run of games, more to do with the draw in terms of their buys rather than like actual certain matchups, more just how many sort of runs of games that you have, and then over the buy period, when is the best time to buy and sell these guys. So we've got 3 sets of information here across 3 pages. So yeah, again, appreciate you being here and watching this. If you're buy planning early, you are going to do super well in NRL fantasy. We had last year to go off with the buy period, obviously the buy each and every week as well, having loopers in our teams. And now this year, we have that information and we can set things up accordingly and do much better across that sort of 8 to 10 week period, setting yourselves up, looking to potentially save trades in certain matchups and in certain areas of the season there. And when you should be wasting trades or using lots of trades compared to holding some as well. So guys, when I mention that some of these teams sort of have a buy, you could definitely sell them if you have multiple players, like too many players, sort of 3 or 4. But if you sort of have the 1 or something like that, it's up to you whether you want to sell them in that time, because obviously, it can be very easy to hold 1 to 2. So on the other side of that buy, they can become super valuable because most teams don't have really consecutive buys. We'll see here there's a couple of pairings, like around 13 and 16 that the Broncos have, or 16 and 19, like the Panthers Cowboys. So they're very close together. The Dogs won, the Sharks, Eels, Dragons. They Dolphins. Most of them sort of have 2 there within sort of 4 or 5 rounds, but some of them have a very quick turnaround, and they're probably ones that you go, yeah, they're definitely going to be a sell, and I'll talk about that when we get into it as well. So to kick things off, guys, in order of who has the buys, we're going to kick it off with the Tigers, and there obviously could be a good looper in round 1. Well, they could be a round 2, sort of round 3 buy, an early buy basically after their one, because they have a really nice run all the way up until round 13 where I think they could be a sell. Or obviously you could hold 1 or 2 of them given they are a buy in round 14, that you should buy them, I should say, and they have their buy in round 26. So that's the Tigers there. For the Titans, guys, you can either start with them because they have a really nice run over that first sort of 5 games, but they do have a buy in round 2. You should then purchase them in round 3 there, and then sell in round 13, very similar to that of the Tigers, or hold 1 or something like that, buy in round 14 or round 18, given they have a round 17 buy there. So yeah, you can get them for round 14 and 16 as an example there in that one, or you could hold 1 or 2 of those guys that that are doing well, basically, because some of these guys here, they could be making money on your side and you're not ready to sell them. They could be a gun and you want to hold on to that gun throughout the buy period as well. So there's only a few teams here I'll speak about where it's like, nah, just sell them in this period and get them back later. Dolphins up next, guys. So you either start with them or you buy in round 4. Anywhere in those early rounds are going to be cool. They're a sell in round 14 or a hold 1 or 2. purchasing again in round 15 or in round 18, given they have the bye in 14 and 18, which is why they have those buys there. Okay, Storm, they're not great to start with, given their tough draw. Obviously, we're going to start with like a Pab or a Grant or a Blore or a Cam Bradley or something like that. But outside of that, their draw's not great. Buy them in round 14 or round 20, and that's it. So it's a really big stretch. Don't really think you should be buying them in like a round 5, just because they've got that round 13 buy. But again, there could be absolute superstars that you need to look at that could come up. Sharkies, you either start with them or you buy in round 6. You then sell in round 16 and potentially buy in round 20 for any of those guns in that one. Panthers are very similar. You start with them or you buy in round 7. You then sell in round 16 and buy in round 20 as well. For the bunnies, you're starting with them, guys. You're selling in round 7. Okay. In this one, or round 13, you could hold them through that round 7 one, could get rid of them in round 13, and then buy back in round 18. Dogs, you start with them, you buy in round 9 after their buy in round 8, you sell in round 19, so you get an awesome run with the dogs there, which we'll see in the pairing section. Sell in round 19, you can hold one or something if you liked, buy back in round 20. When I say buy back, you buy Bulldogs back. Doesn't have to be the same players, but they're all a buy from there. The Eels, you look to start with them. You sell round 16, so you got an awesome run for the Parramatta Eels. Buy in round 21 back. Raiders, you start with them. You sell in round 10 or round 14, or you could hold all the way to round 19. So they're a really cool team, but obviously the 2 buys in there in 10 and 14 can be tough, and you wouldn't probably want to be holding 4 or say, yeah, definitely not 4, 3 max across those 2 weeks. Dragons, guys, you start with them, you sell round 16, you buy them in round 21. Another good team to go through with. Knights are a pretty crazy one, so you can start with them. You sell round 16 or round 21, or you completely hold them for the whole way. If it's sort of 1 to 2 players, you could clearly hold them the whole way if they're not Origin guys. And that's the big thing here, guys. This is not talking about Origin players. This is getting you through the bye period, and Origin players are not great to be getting you through the bye period. So I'm not taking into account any of the Origin guys, because a lot of them you will look to sell unless they're the Harry Grants, the Clearys that have buys in, what do Panthers have? Round 13 for Panthers. So 16, 19 for Panthers. So he'd only miss 13, 16, 19. For the Storm, they are down here at 13 and 19. So again, they're missing those games anyway. They're the kind of guys you can hold. And some of the guys like Hammer, he'll be out 13, 16, 19, 14, and 18. So basically doesn't play for his club across the Origin period. Flegler and these types of guys as well. So that's something to know, but I'm not talking about Origin guys in this section. Spoke about Dragons, spoke about Knights there. Broncos, you start with them, you sell in round 13, given they have the 2 early buys, buy back in round 17 for the majority of the season. They have a later buy as well. Manly, you start with them, you sell them in round 13, or you hold for the last 2 major buy rounds that they play in 16 and 19. The Wars, you start with them, you sell round 13, or sell in round 19. Either way, could hold one, I suppose, the whole way, but yeah, that's where you're at. Roosters, you're starting with them, you're selling them in round 14 or round 19, I think. Obviously, you could buy back later, but all these guys have a later buy as well, which is not something you're super excited about. The Cowboys, you start with them and then you sell round 16 and you leave it at that because they have 16, 19. Again, you could look at the 1 or 2 of these guys max from each team because they have a buy later on, which all these guys are looking to purchase them sort of after the buy period. And I'm saying buy a lot, aren't I? So that's that. Let's move to the pairings, guys. So we're going to kick it off with teams that you're looking to buy in the earlier rounds, which we'll speak about here. Round 13, 14, sells, buys, and the like. So pairings here, round 15 and 19 is the Bulldogs. So it's a pretty cool one there. Round 16 and 19 is the Panthers and the Cowboys. Round 16 and 20 buys is the Sharks, Eels, Dragons. Round 14 and 18 is the Dolphins. Round 14, 19 is the Raiders and the Roosters. Round 13, 16 is the Broncos. Round 13, 17 is the Titans, Rabbitohs, and Manly. Round 13 and 19 is the Storm and the Warriors. And then round 13 and 26 is the Tigers. So the Tigers there, they are the only team that doesn't have a second bye in that 8-round period. You got here the Dolphins, who have a secondary, so a minor bye with 3 teams out. They have that first one, and then round 18 is a non-bye affected week, just a normal sort of one team off in that week, right? All the rest around them have 2 byes in important rounds. So we say the important rounds, guys, are round 13, round 14, round 16, round 17, and round 19, and round 20. The other one there is the Bulldogs in round 15. So they're the 2 in that 8-week period that doesn't affect the rest of the guys. So just the Dogs have the bye in round 15. When we say minor byes, guys, 14, 17, 20, 3 teams are on the bye in that one, which you can see in here. Round 14 is the Dolphins, Raiders, and Roosters. Round 17 is, what do we have here? Titans, Rabbitohs, and Manly. So there's the 3, and then plenty of byes for the other guys. So let's go through now to finish this video off how you look into going through the bye period. So this is the absolute and biggest importance here in this one. And guys, make sure you do jump in the Discord. That's in the description as well. The JBFA Community League as well is in there. We're in the 600s, so decent amount, but we can definitely make that better considering Talking League and amateurs and all that have like triple the amount. So maybe I'm just terrible at advertising, but that is that. So you can go into round 13 safely, guys. So yeah, if you're holding these guys, you're looking to accumulate these guys over the first, over those sort of rounds beforehand and right on round 13. Something to note from last year, guys, is that many players here were accumulating these types of assets that are going to be good for round 13 and 14 in sort of the round 10, 11, 12 kind of range there. Just remember you could use 4 trades in round 13. Once you know that who's going to be picked in Origin, if there's injuries, if there's suspensions, you could use those four trades coming into it. So maybe you look at if you're trying to get that full 13 on the park in round 13. And if you do have any questions on the bye period and how many players you can use, just jump into the help section on fantasy.nrl.com on your app there, and you could see exactly how many players you need in that. But it's 13 on the park for 13, 16, 19, 17. You need to field the full 17 in those minor buys, and then obviously 17 every other week. But if you want more information, go to there. Or ask in the comments. It will help out a little bit, but it's hard to do that over commenting. But go into round 13 safely, build up with these guys with the Dogs, the Cowboys, the Eels, Dragons, Knights, Panthers, and Sharks. Okay, you're going into round 13 with 2 to 3 of Raiders, Roosters, Dolphins, because they do have a bye in round 14. So you don't want to overload with that. You want to make sure you get 17 on the park in round 14. So round 13, never crazy hard to get right, because that's a lot of teams you can go into very, very safely. But obviously from there, if you've picked up a really, really good side come round 13 and potentially 14, a lot of these guys have buys in 15, 16, 17, that type of range, and you will have to trade a bunch of them out to get a good side in the park in 16. But the round 14 buys, guys, and the guys will help you through round 16 clearly are the Tigers plus sort of any 2 to 3 of the Titans, the Rabbitohs, and the Manly boys. Cool. Really good buys there. So they're buys for the next couple of weeks, 14, 15, 16. Round 16 sells. You got the Panthers and the Cowboys, definitely, given they have buys in round 16 and 19 to come. You then got the Sharks, Eels, and Dragons grouping. They're potentially because they have the round 20 bye, and that's something you will have to note. So maybe 1 or 2 in that one there. So they play round 19, and that's why you're definitely selling this top 2, but don't have to with these guys. But be aware of that round 20 bye. They'll get you through 19 and 17, but they won't get you through round 20. Round 16 buys, guys, is the Dolphins and the Tigers are 2 teams you're looking at in that one, clearly. And then sort of 4 to 5 from Storm, Warriors, Raiders, and Roosters, considering they've got another bye to follow. And then you've got the round 17 purchases, guys, so Broncos and Knights definitely. And then 2 to 3 of Sharks, Eels, and Dragons, given they've got another bye remaining. Round 19 sells, you got the Wars in there, only the 1 team. And then the round 19 buys, Dolphins, Titans, Rabbitohs, Manly, Broncos. Shows that last buy isn't as difficult. The round 20 sells 1 to 2 of Sharks, Eels, Dragons. And the round 20 buys are almost everyone. So when you're looking at this, guys, round 19 and 20, I feel, upon review of this, they'll be the easiest by far. And guys, that I've gone through that fairly quick, obviously. But if you go through this, pause it, have a look at the screen. I can give this to all the guys in the private group as well. yeah, all the effort that's gone into this. It's the easiest way to get the actual document, or you can obviously screenshot and those kind of annoying ways to do it. But yeah, you can go back at any time, guys, and listen to it twice or whatever it is to get yourself set and understand. But obviously come back to it every sort of few weeks. It's going to be helpful. So keep it in the black book. But yeah, these are going to be the easiest by far, that round 19 and 20, I think, with the number of options available to get your final team set up and get through those 2 buys really, really well of 19 and 20. There's heaps of options. There's heaps of purchases. 5 teams there in round 19. Obviously a couple there. Broncos and Knights, really, really good as well. So add that on. That's 7 teams, and then a couple of Sharks, Eels, Dragons. Makes it 10 teams that you can look at out of the 17, which is cool. With only the Warriors being sells in round 19. And then round 20, obviously, from that point, you're looking to set up your final team. You've only got sort of a couple of guys to look to trade out from Sharks, Eels, Dragons. All the rest of the guys are through their buys. And that's the big thing to note with the last few rounds, is that very different to round 13, 14, 16. Most people have sort of a couple of buys left, or they're getting through one at that point, with still one to come. Once you get down to 19, 20, a lot of the teams are through completely with their buys, and that's huge. And then round 20 buys, almost everyone, as we said. Sort of from there, guys, round 13 to 17 will be much harder, as I'm saying. You're learning the Origin teams as well, so that was a big spanner in the works last year. Guys that we were planning to have really hurt us because they end up making the Origin squads, and that left us in a bit of a pickle, that's for sure. We're setting up our sides for that round 13 or the round 16, for example, with Damien Cooks and these types of players as well. Seem to be the hookers for New South Wales, that's for sure. Or if you had like a Reece Walsh or something like that, it became a bit of an issue. Corey Horsburgh, there's lots of those kind of names that popped up and really struggled there to be helpful for our sides with the Dylan Brown debacle. There's lots that happens in those early rounds, and it seems to slow up a bit as we get later down the line. But as I said, it's going to be much harder with the Origin teams. There's a bit of an extra thing with limited perfect teams to target for good buys, because they're good purchases anyway, because they have usually 1 or 2 buys to come. Having trades saved to use heavy throughout these 5 rounds, I think, is super important to dominate this year, because I think they're the hardest rounds to get through. If you can do really well, score really well, this is when some teams will be fielding sort of 10, 11, 12 players, 13 players with a few average guys. If you can set up with a really gun side over these weeks, that's when you can make up ground, guys, or push well ahead, because all of the other weeks, most teams have a pretty good 17 on the park, right? It's these weeks here, if you haven't planned properly, you can fall behind. And if you have, started really well, this is the best spot to really push ahead and absolutely rocket up the rankings. It's also a time that if you have struggled a little bit at the start and other guys have started better than you can plan and absolutely dominate that 5 rounds. And obviously round 19 and 20, I think, will be very similar for most teams, but these 13 to 17 is going to be massive in your ability to rocket up the ranks and absolutely smash it here in NRL fantasy. So I will leave you with that one there, a fairly short and sharp summary of the early buy planning that I've looked at. And this is just kind of a template for you where you can look at, and there'll be plenty of strategies based on those pairings, which is kind of where I was starting with this. But I just wanted to get this one out for you before round 1, just so all bases are covered and you kind of set up in a really good way to dominate this year. And again, a big thank you to all of you guys for this amazing preseason. I've absolutely loved it. And I'm super appreciative of all of you guys for watching all these videos, listening to these podcasts. So thanks for that. And we will catch you in the teamless video this afternoon. I can't wait.